Okay.
Hi, everyone. This is Janine from Push Cycling Studio, and we are so excited to share with you our Greg from Biometrics, who will be facilitating our next weight loss challenge, which is called Push Whole 30. So he is the expert when it comes to this type of meal plan and this type of diet, and there's just so many benefits to this type of or this way of life. So this is definitely a lifestyle change. It teaches you how to eat clean, and it teaches you how to just basically live a life with high nutrients and less. You just cut out the crap. So Greg is going to chat with us about that. So before we get started, as we get started, I'm going to hand over the stage to him so he can talk about the meal plan. And then after that, we can talk about what we expect from our participants. And if you have any questions, we can chime in and ask those. All right, take it away, Greg.
Awesome. Thanks, Janine. Thanks for having me again for our second Whole 30 that we're going to be doing here. So a little bit about me. My wife, Natasha, and I, we started up Biometrics Sport Lab here about 5 years ago now, actually. And we've had the opportunity to test thousands of people all over the province on different types of workout plans, different types of meal plans. And one of the best meal plans that we've seen to affect positive change is actually called the Whole 30. So for those of you that don't know what that is, in a nutshell, that's a strict paleo for 30 days. And then we do a reintroduction period after that. So I'll get more into that in a bit here. So first off, like when it comes to running a successful challenge, the very first thing that you actually need is a comprehensive meal plan. You can train till you're blue in the face, but if you don't have your food dialed in, we're going to see little to no results. And we've seen that hundreds and hundreds of times over the past 5 years. Once we get that food dialed in, we're going to see some pretty stellar results. It's pretty clear what we want you to do in the challenge here. Like there's not really a gray area. It's kind of either you're on plan or you're not. So I'm not going to be wishy-washy with you guys. I'm not going to make up made up consequences if you go off plan. Like we're all adults here. We can make our own decisions. Janine and Tammy might give you some consequences for falling off plan, but I won't do it myself here anyways. And ultimately we want to teach you how to fish, because if we just give you every single meal for the entire 30 days, we're not really teaching you anything. So we want to teach you how to fish. We're definitely going to help you out at the beginning of the challenge, get those meal plans ready. You don't have to eat anything that you don't like. That's not required. We just have a certain ratio of proteins, healthy carbohydrates like vegetables and fats at every single meal that we want to eat. So there's certainly no requirements to eat anything that you don't like. But yeah, we're going to give you all the resources and tools that you need to go beyond the 30 days, because this challenge isn't about 30 days. Like how much weight can you lose in 30 days? That's nice. Like this isn't necessarily a weight loss challenge, but it's more of a lifestyle challenge. Like let's get you eating the right things and getting consistent with it, getting you into exercising on a regular basis. And when you have all those things dialed in, and you can carry it forward into the rest of your life, like that's the ultimate objective for us here, is to create those lifestyle changes that you can continue on beyond the 30-day challenge here. So we're going to be providing daily support. We've got a private Facebook group for everybody, and we're going to be talking about new recipes, answering any questions that you might have about the challenge itself, giving you some motivation to keep you going, because there's going to be some tough times. I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody has some weak points throughout the challenge, whether it's through even family that's not supporting you, or people saying like, why are you doing this? But you're with a group of people that are winning and making it happen, and you have to find, I guess, that deeper reason as to why you're doing this and why you want to be successful. So we're going to have a big group of people to help you out and get you to the finish line 100% compliant. So really, let's talk about what the Whole 30 is now. So like I said before, that's 100% compliant paleo. So for people that don't know, paleo That is no grains, no dairies, no legumes, and no sugars for 30 days. The reason we do that is because it takes about 30 days to flush all the toxins from those types of foods out of our system. Then once we go that 30 days compliant, then we do a reintroduction phase. So it's a four phase reintroduction. So the first phase is legumes. So on that 31st day, you're going to have legumes at each of your 3 meals that day, but all your other foods are going to remain compliant. And then we're going to see how your body reacts to that. So if you have a sensitivity to legumes, it's going to show up. Whether it's digestive issues, bloating, gas, headaches, low energy, things like that. Those are really common things that we'll see. Then we do on the 34th day is glutens with no grain. So that would be like your rice, quinoa. And then 3 days after that, we do dairies. And then 3 days after that, we do grains with gluten. So like your breads and bagels and stuff like that. So all during that reintroduction phase, all your food is going to remain 100% compliant, except for those food groups that we put back in there. And we just want to learn, like, how is our body actually reacting to this stuff? Because then after the challenge, you can actually make educated decisions about what you're putting in your mouth. So if you want to eat cheese and you have a reaction to it, just go in knowing that's the kind of reaction that you're going to have. But if you have a bad reaction, maybe it might be something that you want to skip. It's like, okay, well, maybe I'll save this for another day because I know, or maybe you might make a healthier choice when it comes to the foods that you decide to eat. So really, most people can do anything for 30 days, but the first week is going to be the hardest. I won't lie to you again. The first 30 days can be pretty difficult because it's quite common for people to go through sugar withdrawals, and it's called the carb flu. And you can actually have flu-like symptoms. Your body is fighting against not having any sugar. So that phase can be a bit tough. Not everybody gets it. But you'll come out the other side of that feeling like $1,000,000. So when your body's actually going through that, don't push it. Your body's struggling. You don't need to go to the gym. If you have really low energy, just rest. We don't need to attack the working out while your body's going through that transition phase. Just give it a few days, rest, relax, stay on plan. Make sure you have all your food prepared, all the groceries ready. So when you're not feeling great, you can just grab a nice healthy stack and you'll get out of that phase pretty quickly. But it's really common for people when they get through that phase to it's almost like their body's on rocket fuel, because all you're feeding your body is high quality proteins, vegetables, some fruits, some fats as well too. So and I've experienced it myself in our own household, and obviously Natasha, my wife, and Janine and Tammy and all the people that we did with the Whole30 challenge before, is you really don't know what healthy feels like until you get rid of all that crap in your food. And that can take up to 30 days sometimes, like I said. So really I guess one of the main things as well here too is kind of understanding our mental addictions to food as well. Whether it's like who you're with, like what's going on, time of day, maybe it's work. So it's really understanding that mental side of eating, because food is a very emotional thing. For myself even, and for probably most people that I know, when they're stressed out, they kind of go to food as a comfort source. So part of the Whole30 is actually understanding those triggers and actually stopping for a second and thinking about, okay, I'm craving sugar or chocolate right now. So what's actually going on in my life? Who am I with? What's happening? What's going on? And so just by understanding the kind of situation you're in, it helps to take away the power of that craving. And plus, in the future, if it's possible, you can kind of take yourself out of those situations. So it helps to get rid of those cravings there as well too. So next, We talked about the reintroduction schedule. So quite commonly people have questions about like, okay, well, why am I taking away the sugar? Why am I taking the grains, the legumes and the milk, or sorry, the dairies? So for one, on the sugars, sugar doesn't contain any vitamins. Like there's a lot of empty calories in there, and the same goes for artificial sweeteners in a sense that they promote metabolic dysfunction.
Sorry, I think Lorette is having a hard time hearing us. I just emailed her back and I said that there's an unmute button on. If Lorette, if you're on your, I just emailed her back. I'm wondering if she can hear us. Can you hear us, Lorette? No.
She probably has the mute button on.
Okay. I'm just going to let her know.
Okay.
Unmute. Okay. So keep going.
All right. Sounds good.
Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. So, and alcohol does fall in the same realm as sugar as well too. So obviously alcohol is a neurotoxin. That's why your brain gets all fuzzy after a few drinks. So alcohol is a concentrated source of calories, twice as dense as sugar actually. And obviously there's no nutritional value with that. Plus it sets you up to make lots of poor food decisions after that. So no alcohol for the first 30 days as well there too. Grains, for a lot of people know nowadays, but grains are just not a health food. They really promote overconsumption, which creates hormonal and metabolic dysfunction. And they also contain inflammatory proteins called gluten, and that can promote an imbalance of gut bacteria. And they also contain this thing called phytates. So what that means is they're basically anti-nutrients. So it's kind of like a seed. When you plant a seed, it absorbs all the nutrients around it. So that makes all those nutrients in the foods that you're eating not available because these phytates are absorbing the nutrients from that food. And the same problems with grains actually comes back to the legumes as well too. They do have those phytates or anti-nutrients, and beans in general tend to be nutrient poor when it comes to vegetables and fruits. And one of the big problems with soy that we see is that soy has phytoestrogens in them. And so that behaves like the female sex hormone estrogen. So why mess with your body's natural hormone levels? Like, it's just, your body is good the way it is with your hormonal levels. So why mess with a good thing? Let's just leave those hormones alone as they are. And peanuts can be especially problematic as well too, because they contain lectins, which are resistant to digestion, and they can cause or cross into your bloodstream and cause inflammation. And then last, with the dairy, that can cause immune dysfunction as well too, and an inflammatory response. They cause a high insulin response, and they can actually cause worsening of seasonal allergies and asthma and acne and other conditions like that. So like I said, we're going to be doing 30-day 100% compliant. We also have a point system, so that helps us be accountable. So we'll do the training for everybody, of course, on the day of, but we're tracking things like your workouts. Each meal that you have that's compliant is going to be worth a point. We also have a journal section in there because that's really important for me to read. And yes, I do read them, and I see all sorts of stuff written in there. So there's probably nothing that you could say in there that I haven't seen before, but because we're talking like about digestion and how you're feeling with the food and you're eating and stuff like that. So we want to know how the food is affecting your body, because that's going to help us make some recommendations based on your specific needs, because we're going to start everybody on the same plan. But as we go, everybody will have different sensitivities. Like, even if you're eating healthy food, sometimes your body may not agree with that. Like, for me personally, I have a sensitivity to broccoli and avocado. Like, it sucks because I like both of those things. But if I eat too much of it, it causes me digestive issues. So I still eat it every once in a while, but not in big quantities. So those are the kinds of things that I want to hear about from people, that we can help to give you some alternatives that aren't going to be problematic for you. We're going to be tracking a new healthy habit practice as well too. So we all have bad habits. So we want you to take one bad habit and replace that with a healthy habit. So we want that to do that every single day. throughout the course of the challenge, the same habit, not a different habit, and just work on it over the course of the 30 days. And because it's more of a lifestyle type thing to get you to that next level. And plus we're going to be tracking sleep. So that's a huge one. So many people are not getting enough sleep. So you'll get a point for having 7+ hours of sleep. So we'll be tracking all those points online. At the end of the day, you just enter them in. Should take you less than 5-10 minutes. I don't need to specifically know what you're eating. We just need to know that you're on plan, and then we'll tally up all those points at the end of the week on Monday morning, and we'll actually post them in our private Facebook group that's just for people in the challenge. And it's not meant to shame anybody or anything like that, but it's just an accountability piece. And because we want to help everybody get to that finish line compliant. If you're having any kind of struggles whatsoever, whether it be like at home, you're not getting that support, or the cravings are being overwhelming, or low energy, any type of gastric distress, anything like that. Like, we need to hear about that stuff so we can help coach you and get the right foods in your body that's good for you and help you perform at your optimum level, and just be the healthiest version of you at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the Whole30 and the push Whole30 challenge there.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing all that information. Questions. So I know a lot of people, and you probably get this question quite a lot, but they're always worried about calcium. Oh, I can't have my dairy. I'm not going to reach my calcium intake in a day. Can you explain how easy it is to reach your daily intake of calcium without eating dairy?
Well, yeah, for sure. Actually, most vegetables are really high in calcium as well too. Like broccoli and cauliflower tend to be really high in calcium as well too. So that's typically not kind of a non-issue. And we actually have a post about that in the group as well too, that there's a lot of common misconceptions about a lot of things in the food industry. Like, as you can imagine, like, it's a huge industry. And the dairy industry is like every other industry. They want to sell milk, and
milk is good.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's evil or anything, but there are better choices out there for us. Mm-hmm. And you can get calcium from a lot of different sources aside from just milk. Yeah. And if calcium,
I had no problems with, because I tracked on, when I was doing the Push Whole30 plan, I tracked on my app. I used the MyFitnessPal app, which is really good, the free version. And it tells you your daily targets that you want to hit. And I had no problems just with what I was eating from Greg's meal plan book that he gave us. And we kind of followed his meal plan pretty much, I think 80%. Like, we changed a few things, but we had no problem hitting our daily targets there. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And actually that reminds me, everybody is going to be getting, we're going to email a big copy of the Whole30 Guide to Nutrition. It's like a binder of information. And that's kind of one of the homework items for everybody when we do the orientation, is we want you to pore over that information, kind of digest it over the weekend, because we're going to be doing baseline body composition tests on the Thursday. We're going to do the orientation. We're going to go over everything in the Whole30, answer any questions that you might have, and give you the weekend to digest. We're going to give you the meal plan for the first week, so you can go out and get your groceries, do all your meal prep on Saturday or Sunday, and basically hit the ground running come Monday morning.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next, is how, like, people are like, are we left alone on Monday, or are we all in this together? But there's tons of support. We all meet up, we get to meet each other, and then we kind of know who we're chatting with on Facebook. And it's funny because we're all out shopping at the same time on the weekend, and we're all messaging each other. There's tons of support. Yeah, if you're going to do this program, there's going to be no issues when it comes to support. Let's put it that way. Can you explain kind of what we're to expect the first week, and then the second week, going into the third week, and then the fourth week? as far as changes in our body, just so, because I know people that they know it's a weight loss challenge, they know it's a lifestyle change, and you were really detailed, you were really good with that. Kind of like an overview of what we are to kind of experience.
Okay, well, yeah, that first week is generally the toughest, just in regards to changing, like, because you're cutting out sugar completely, and depending on how much sugar you actually have in your diet, you will potentially go through withdrawals that first week and a half type thing, and so that's typically the most challenging. But the key to success in this type of challenge, or really any type of meal plan, is preparation. So if you don't have your meals prepped and ready and you're hungry, you're probably going to make a bad food choice. Mm-hmm. So that's the number one secret to success in life in general.
Yeah, true.
When it comes to food. So that first week can be a bit challenging with that carb flu. Most people will actually end up losing weight that first week, but it typically is just water weight that they're flushing out, because you're not eating any foods that are causing inflammation. So it's quite common for people to lose at least a few pounds, depending on kind of what your diet was like before. I don't really like to set expectations on that, because some people aren't going to lose anything. Some people could lose like 5 pounds. It just kind of depends on where you're starting. So in that second week, people are starting to get more in the groove of eating the foods. And in fact, I don't really ever hear any complaints about the food that we're eating, because everything is quite tasty and delicious, because these are the kinds of foods that we eat in our house too. So a lot of them are quick and easy, very flavorful. So it's not like you're feeling deprived or anything like that. And so yeah, in fact, probably the biggest thing I hear people say is like, they can't believe they're eating so much food. Because when you take a look at, I'm probably digressing here a little bit, but when you take a look at the calories that are in just like a cheeseburger, let's say, and then the calories that are in like 6 ounces of chicken and a cup of broccoli and another cup of carrots or whatever, steamed vegetables, and a little bit of avocado, there's not even a third to a half as amount of calories in there, and you have a whole plate of food. So, because we still need to get your calories up to a level where you can perform well in the gym, and it's all based on portion sizes, so you don't need to weigh and measure anything. But that's probably one of the most common things I hear people say, is that they can't believe how much food they're eating. But if we start hearing people say, hey, I'm having really low energy, I'm eating all this food, and then we actually take a look at what they're eating, pretty much the number one common problem there is they're not consuming enough food. So you really have to ramp up your the quantity of food that you're eating, because those healthy foods, there's not as much calories in those foods compared to their junk food alternates. So that's probably a really big one that I see. So second week, people really start to get in the groove. They're starting to get their energy back if they did get the carb flu. So if we still see that energy lagging, that's usually when we'll say, okay, let's increase the amount of food that you're eating. So maybe like an extra ounce of meat at every meal, an extra scoop of veggies, a little extra portion of fat as well too. Just kind of bring all the proteins, carbs, and fats up, try to keep that same ratio at every meal. Third week, people really start getting into the groove. Energy levels are back for 99% of people at that stage. And for depending on where people at, they'll probably start noticing more weight loss in that third week there, as long as they're staying 100% compliant. And then fourth week is really where it kind of takes off for some people. But I have seen some people that, like, especially like if they're coming in moderately lean already, like with a healthy body weight, they may not see a pile of changes. They might see a little bit of fat loss, but most certainly they'll see performance improvements in the gym. Whereas some people, like, I've seen some pretty crazy fat losses in 30 days where it's just like phenomenal, like can't believe it. So But obviously we use the InBody, which is some very expensive technology that is used in research and case studies. And yeah, it's like you can't dispute the results that when you go 100% compliant on this, you get excellent results, like whether it's through energy or sleeping better, better performance in the gym, fat loss, more muscle mass. Those are all things that can happen on doing a Whole30. But when you go 50% compliant, you're going to get probably 25% of the results. So that's why we're not wishy-washy on the rules of the Whole30. It's like 100% compliant, and you're going to see some phenomenal results in some or all of those areas that I talked about.
Our program is going through Thanksgiving. I know we can make an amazing paleo Whole30 meal.
Oh yeah, well, we'll have something special for you guys for Thanksgiving. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of temptation at that time. You're around family. There's going to be alcohol, depending on your family situation. And yeah, you're going to have to get through it. So there's going to be situations like that throughout your entire life. Whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, there's going to be stuff like that for the rest of your life. And you have to understand and learn how to deal with that along the way. So this is going to be one holiday out of your entire life, and we're going to help you out. We're going to give you some ideas. And sometimes you don't have the capacity, like if you're at a family member's place, you may not necessarily have those choices, but don't be shy about making some special requests as well too, because usually there's a compliant version of what they're making. And a lot of things that at Thanksgiving are healthy, like turkey is perfectly healthy. As long as the vegetables are all steamed, perfectly healthy. As long as you have a fat source in there, whether it's just like some mixed nuts, some avocado, even olives. Like olives doesn't really go in with the turkey dinner, but there's other sources of fats that you can get in there as well too, and that are 100% compliant. So we'll definitely have a healthy Thanksgiving dinner plans for you guys as well too, to get you through the holidays.
All right. I'm trying to think of other questions to ask. Just like taking your food with you. I took my food wherever I went. My lunch, my snacks. Oh, pre and post workout meals.
Yes.
That's important too. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, because ultimately what we were trying to do is we're trying to turn your body into a fat burning machine. So when we starve your body of those sugars and those carbohydrates like that, essentially what it has to do is it has to burn fat as a fuel source instead of carbohydrates. And that's partly what happens with that carb flu as well too, is your body is transitioning from burning carbs to burning fats. So when we do our pre-workout, what you want, anywhere between a half hour and an hour before your workout, you want a half meal-sized portion of protein and a half meal-sized portion of fats, because we want your body to get used to running on fats as a fuel source for your workouts. And then, so that's not 100% required. It kind of depends on what time of day you're working out. Like if you're working out at the end of the day, I would definitely recommend a mid-afternoon snack or late afternoon snack to kind of give you enough energy to get your workout in. Now, when it comes to mornings, we typically start people out fasted. And then depending on how your performance is during class, we might want to get you up like 10 or 15 minutes earlier and do that half meal-sized portion of protein and half meal-sized portion of fats. So for post-workout, this meal is mandatory. So we want you to have a full meal-sized portion of protein and a full meal-sized portion of starchy carbohydrates. So that's like your sweet potato, carrots, pretty much most of your root vegetables apply when it comes to starchy carbohydrates, because there's two things that happen when we eat those types of foods post-workout. So number one is that we're gonna really give your body the nutrients it's required to get the maximum benefits out of that workout. So plus it's going to set you up to recover really well so you can crush your next workout. So that is a mandatory meal, and you do get points for that. So, and it's important to eat that meal 15 to 30 minutes post workout. That's the window. So unless you can get home in 5 minutes and get all that food together, that means you pretty much need to bring your food to the gym with you, because that's the window that we have to get the maximum benefit out of it.
Amazing. Yeah, so I think a lot of, if you're 100% compliant and you're focused and you're working out at Push, definitely results will come your way. You teach us how to kind of maintain a lifestyle after the Push Whole30, after the reintroduction phase. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to eat like this, but then I'm going to fall back into my old habits. How do you help us change our lifestyle long term?
Well, we have a cool little cheat sheet for everybody. It's called off-roading or life after Whole30. So it gives you, some tips and tricks on how to continue implementing Whole30 after the challenge. And just to be clear, like eating Whole30 all the time it's not realistic for anybody. So this is a 30-day thing. We're going to get some learnings about how your body reacts to certain foods. But if you can eat this way, like 80 to 90% of the time, you're still going to see excellent results going forward. It's just not realistic to eat this way all the time. So, but we do have a cheat sheet for you to help give you some guidelines, and because we're all going to eat out at some point in the future, but we're going to give you some tips on maybe making some different food choices when you are eating out. And they're really just little white lies that you would tell the restaurant. It's like, well, maybe I have a food allergy to this. And restaurants are really compliant when it comes to food allergies. Like that's a huge compliance thing for them. So if something happens and you get sick and you told them, that's a big deal for them. They can get in trouble for that. So that is typically the only time I would ever promote doing white lies, but it will help you get through the plan and continue to help you eat clean going forward. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Tammy, any questions that you can think of? Lorette, any questions? You can type them into the comment section. Tammy said she turned wine into water during the plan. That was one of her little coping.
30 days. That was one of my bad habits that I wanted to convert into a healthy habit. So actually it was more like 41 days, I think, if I had to count exactly. But I went without wine.
Nice.
I love that comment.
Yeah, and there's lots of cool little tricks to kind of get you past that. Like if people drink pop a lot, you can drink sparkling water, and it still gives you that bubbly sensation, and it's just carbonated water, and you can even get the lime flavored and stuff like that. There's no additives in there. It's just carbonated water. That kind of just to give you that sensation without getting all those extra calories and the sugar. Same like if you like chips, you just like snacking on chips at night. Well, maybe we can switch that out for
celery.
Like carrot, celery. Yeah, something else that's crunchy. Yeah, a lot of that's what I'm talking about with triggers and understanding like what are you actually going after when you're eating chocolate or you're eating chips. Like, yeah, it can be sometimes the saltiness of it, but if you have that crunchiness in there and real, like you could even sprinkle a little salt on that if you wanted. Like if you wanted something salty and crunchy, there you go. Like that'll satisfy your craving. So little tips and tricks like that on kind of getting around those cravings and understanding what they're all about.
Awesome. Well, I think we're good to go. So our next date that we're going to be meeting would be for the 20. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my.
it's the in-person information session. So if you want to come in and meet Greg and Janine and I in person, then you can come by and ask us questions. We'll also be doing the body composition testing that day. So if you are joining the challenge, be prepared for that. It's a 15-minute test, if they didn't say that already. And yeah, we can start we actually go through the same information here, and then we give you your booklets and get you all prepared over the weekend. And then the challenge starts on the 25th, which is the Monday. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Tammy. All right, so once again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can get a hold of us on our, give the studio a call at 587-254-0210, or message us on social media and we can answer your questions. We'll definitely help you out with any issues or any concerns that you might have about this challenge. But yes, what it is it's a 6-week program. We're going to be working out together. We're going to be eating clean together, and we're going to be changing our lifestyles together and losing a bunch of weight together. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And Greg is going to be facilitating the whole meal plan. He's the expert. And then Tammy and I and all of our motivators at Push, we're the experts when it comes to working out and just burning calories and maintaining our muscle mass and building muscle mass together.
That's right. Yeah, my wife Natasha will be in the Facebook group as well, helping out. So she is definitely the expert on that stuff as well too. So she does most of the cooking in our house. I'll just be honest about that. So she's really the master behind this. So
really a great couple to help us kind of move forward and change our lifestyle. Greg and Natasha, they're really instrumental in my life anyway. And they've listened to a lot and dealt with a lot of change with me. And thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I think we're finished today.
All right.
And that being said, thanks for watching our online recording and webinar. Have a great evening.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.